Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanum, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunushumme, washmale, ohai gunzaimas, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, halishuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kiraya, hosh galdin, and anayo hasayo, and thank you very much everybody for tuning into P2 World. You're certainly watching World this morning alongside my very amazing and very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Haja Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Haja, where were you yesterday?
Assalamu alaikum. So, it was such a bad rainfall. I think we were all asking and praying for the rainfall because it was so humid and it was so hot. And when, there was a rainfall, it was so hard and it was so bad that, I was stuck badly in the rainfall. And I really, admire your grit for coming here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing that. And, it would have been really impossible for me to kind of reach towards work if Allah has not blessed me with a Vigo car too as well. So, imagine, so I don't usually drive it because it's a manual, but whenever it's raining, that's the car I take out. And imagine, so as soon as I left my sector, E11, I could see that, that one side of the road was blocked just because there was too much water. And then the other side had two-way traffic coming in as well. And I was like, okay, whatever it takes, I still have to go. So I left a little earlier. And then it was a quite a lot of a good journey for me, So I turned up the radio because there was no Bluetooth in my car too as well. I was like, okay, whatever it is, I really need to be at work so that towards the end of the day, nobody's able to deduct my money, man. Okay. My cash is coming in, yes. But yes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's quite a consolation, and then you had pakoras or fritters after the office thing.
Yes, we did. So imagine, because Hasnan made it to the office too as well, our producer, alhamdulillah, our wonderful, hardworking champ too as well. And then Junaid was here, so everybody got together. Usman was here as well. And then we went to actually go and have some pakoras and good wali chai, and the weather was lovely. And it was fantastic. Thank you very much, Junaid, for the treat too as well. But other than that, imagine, so I have a visual for you, which I'll be sharing with you, and I want you to kind of talk about it. So this gentleman took a picture. I don't know what he or she was thinking, because usually what happens is when you look at the sky, you see different formations. You see clouds, probably in the heart shape or whatever you're thinking. So this gentleman, this boy took a picture, and it looks like as if there's a boy who's actually riding on a bird, and it has taken the internet by a storm too as well. Let's take a picture. Let's take a look at the picture first, and then let's see what you have to say. So on the right-hand side, you can see clearly, ladies and gentlemen, that the resident of Riyadh, Abdul Karim Al-Majid, saw some unusual clouds in the shape of a child riding a bird. And you can see that on your screen on his way to vacation as well. That went viral on social media, with some calling it photoshopped, while others say it could be a psychological phenomena called pareidolia. I mean, I don't know what phenomena that is. The video and photos have been the point of debate among the users of social networking sites over the past 2 days. This also explained that it is a state that makes the mind respond to linking random shapes it sees with a real reality, such as imagining a picture of human being on the moon or on the clouds. And I have done that. I've done that quite a lot. Have you done that? Okay, first of all, do you think it's a real picture?
Maybe, yeah.
It looks like, right?
Right.
Maybe.
Like, I think when we were young, we used to gaze at the stars a lot, because there was no social media or there was no computer at that time. And especially, we were roaming a lot outside our home. So we used to gaze at the stars, and it's quite a hobby, gazing at the stars and, watching the northern lights. Have you ever witnessed the northern lights? Because
yes, I have. And in fact, I have even learned the pattern on how to kind of, track if you're lost in the sea too as well. It's good.
Oh, that's interesting.
Most of the time what happens is that, whatever you're thinking the most, that's what you're going to see in the clouds or on the moon too as well. That's true, right? So what have you witnessed yourself?
Okay, so my father used to tell me that this is the northern star, and he used to guide me, because he's from the forces background, and I think they have been taught how to do the operations, especially in the dark, by watching the stars and the constellations. So there's this formation of 7 stars, I guess, right? And then there's
from the North Star you see over there, and then there are 7 stars in a row, right? Wow,
and I think that was quite an art back in the ancient times, because people used to study those patterns, and they used to predict what is going to be the future. Quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is. And so hopefully, I hope that everybody out there who's gazing at the stars or probably looking at the clouds too as well, that you're thinking about something wonderful and may it be a reality in your life too as well. That's something which we are going to wish for and pray for too as well. Now, I think it's about time that we remember our hero, Imam Alam Saab, because it happens to be his 87th birth anniversary today, ladies and gentlemen. What a hero, what an inspiration, to be very honest. And whenever we speak about Alam Saab, I think it is very important that we kind of say that he remains in the hearts and minds of the nation for his wondrous and marvelous performance in 1965 war.
Right. So Air Commodore Muhammad Mahmood Alam Sahab is being remembered on his 87th birth anniversary today. He was a hero and the pride of Pakistan. And I think, Shahzad, that, Pakistan Air Force has a very valiant, tradition and heritage in that sense, because he has quite a record to his name, though, and he remains in the hearts and the minds of the nation for his wondrous and marvelous performance in 1965 war. He downed 5 Indian Air Force aircraft in 1 minute during the Indo-Pak War of 1965. Wow. Oh, wow. And he is a F-86 Sabre flying ace, and the government of Pakistan awarded him with Sitara Jurat, and he retired in 1982 as an Air Commodore. He was born on 6th of July 1935 in Calcutta. He joined PF in 1952 and commissioned on 2nd October 1953. He died on 18th of March 2013 at the age of 77 in Karachi. So, you know what, Shahzad, I'll share a fun fact with you. So, one of my professor told me that when he went to Syria, there's an entire street, which is named as a PF street. Wow. Because, the Pakistan Air Force pilots went there and they assisted in some sort of Arab-Israel war at that time. Wow. And, there was such a legendary Air Force pilots that they named it after him. I was like, wow,
that's amazing. And, in addition to that, since you have actually mentioned such a beautiful fact that too early in the morning, I'm going to state another fact. And that is that, do you know that in 2014 FIFA World Cup, in 2018 FIFA World Cup, and now in this year's FIFA World Cup, Pakistan has actually produced the FIFA World Cup football too as well. Wow. And ladies and gentlemen, nobody can keep calm, and obviously the Prime Minister Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif Saab actually tweeted too as well. So imagine Prime Minister said that the ball that was used in World Cup 2014 and then World Cup 2018 was also made in Pakistan. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has expressed gratitude that football which will be used in World Cup 2022 is made in Sialkot city of Pakistan. In a tweet, he said the ball that was used in World Cup 2014, yes, as I mentioned, the official match football for the upcoming FIFA World Cup has been produced in Pakistan, making it the country's significant contribution to the mega soccer event. The ball named Al-Rihla has been unveiled by sports company Adidas. Al-Rihal is an Arabic word that translates to the journey. The ball has been made in Pakistan by Adidas, the second largest sports manufacturer in the world. The official match ball incorporates the culture of Qatar, boats, the flag, and the architecture of Qatar too as well. Wow, that's wonderful. We are super proud.
Right, that's a quite impressive.
But I have a question for you.
Yes.
So I have a question. What do you think stands for Adidas?
I don't know. Is it an acronym?
Yes.
Oh, I never knew that.
All day I dream about sports. That's what it is. Adidas.
Really? Oh,
yes.
wow. That's an impressive
I don't
knowledge.
know. I don't know whether it's man-made or does it really exist, but yes, that's what they say.
Right. Okay, so moving on to the last segment of the news, which is men in green departed for Sri Lanka during the
There will be a warm-up match in between Sri Lankans and the Pakistanis too as well. And yes, I think it's great. I just cannot keep calm. There's a lot of cricket coming up.
What's your prediction as a sports analyst?
Obviously Pakistan.
Okay,
I mean, and it's because of the fact that Sri Lanka might not have been doing great lately, even though, the last test matches we played against Australia, so it wasn't really that great, but we were able to kind of make sure that we do not give it away that simply. So Babar Azam actually had a great knock too as well. But, you never know. So may the best team win. I think that's what I'm going to say in the capacity of a sports broadcast journalist. So let's see whether what team is going to play and then how they're going to play, because the conditions are going to be different in Sri Lanka. So let's see. I think the boys will settle down very nice. I think the top order is doing wonderfully well.
Okay.
We have some strong bowlers too as well. So yeah, let's see. It's a funny game. That's what they say about cricket. You never know what's going to happen next as well. But now, since it's going to be a lot of barbecue season in days to come as well, and so a lot of people, what happens is that when we plan a barbecue, so most of the time the barbecue is aadha kacha aadha pakka, so I did an ad for this fizzy drink, and so there were a lot of foreigners working with me. So towards the end the tagline was bacha abhi kacha hai. So barbecue abhi kacha hai wala state, and what happens is that a lot of people lose their fillings. A lot of people have the dental issues too as well. A lot of people even lose their teeth. And why is that? So it's something which we will be talking about today in this segment, because we really want your teeth to be pakka. So if you are eating the barbecue kacha, that it does not really make a difference too as well. And we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a dentist over here in the studios with us, who happens to be Dr. Barira Bukhari. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you, Doc Saiba, first of all. So are you keeping your eyes onto a lot of barbecue or not? The first question.
Yes, definitely. I've always enjoyed barbecue myself, and because I'm sort of a carnivore, I'm a meat lover. So I do expect to keep my teeth in full working condition, and I would ask the viewers to do the same too this season.
Well, I think that's wonderful, but you really need to be careful about what you're eating. So, just to kind of ask you, for whatever kind of food we consume, what are the impacts on our dental hygiene?
Okay, so basically our dental hygiene is really, it's dependent on what we eat and how much of it we eat and with what frequency we eat it. Now in Pakistan, this is a season where we're going to continuously be eating meat, right? Beef, mutton, this is like the go-to menu these days. So it's important to remember that before we start this festival of eating, that we go to the dentist at least once, get a scaling and polishing treatment done, and get a checkup done on whether or not there are any cavities, any loose fillings, any crowns that need to be replaced, any teeth that are too weak to chew on, because फिर बाद में,
it's going to cause problem.
Yeah, the tooth picking of the meat pieces, the falling out of teeth, and like you said, people even lose their teeth because of this issue.
They do, because they keep on picking their tooth too as well, and then they never realize that it has been too late for them. But other than that, since you mentioned about scaling, so I've got scaling done almost now thrice. Because every now and then, whenever there's a new dental clinic opening up, they're like, sir, hum aapko free denge. I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do it. So what happens is, so they want, in exchange, they want us to post stories on Insta and elsewhere. So we do that too as well. So it's not technically free,
Okay.
So in addition to that, what I've witnessed is that no matter what happens, because most of the time we get our scaling done because there's a lot of staining, with tea and other things as well, which we consume. But as soon as you get the scaling done, 2 days, 3 days later, you will see the stains coming back as well. So I do not believe the scaling is a very efficient way of removing all the stains. Do we have any better solution?
Okay, so one treatment that you're talking about, that's scaling and polishing. This is just cleaning. It takes off the tartar, the calculus, the stains on your teeth that have been caused there by dietary issues, perhaps fizzy drink consumption.
There's calculus in our teeth too as well?
Yes,
I thought it was only in my syllabus.
No, definitely. Like, stones are made everywhere in kidneys, in livers, in gallbladders, and even in teeth. So this does happen, and you need to have them removed, especially if you're going to go on an eating festival. And the second treatment that you can get done is tooth whitening or bleaching.
Okay.
But that too is only if you are satisfied that cleaning, scaling and polishing can just only do so much, and you want your teeth to have a whiter, sparkly, more sparkly smile, then you should opt for that. Otherwise, I would just suggest do the cleaning and correct your dietary habits, your eating habits. You're either consuming too many fizzy drinks, or you're smoking, or you're eating pan, gutka, chalia, not you in general.
Thank you.
And you're doing something that
that's not good.
Yeah, and that's the reason the stains and the stones are coming back onto your teeth.
Right. So as a dentist, please walk us through a good oral and dental hygiene care.
Okay, so contrary to popular opinion, it's actually really wise to brush your teeth after breakfast.
Right.
अभी जो हम लोग करते हैं ना, सुबह उठते ही पहले brushing and then नाश्ता. It's a lot more beneficial if you do it before you sleep and then after breakfast. And use mouthwash for 2 weeks. Do not continuously use mouthwash. Some people do this, they overuse it. Uski wajah se bhi staining, it comes back. Right? So dilute it after 2 weeks, stop using it. And flossing, I cannot stress this enough. If you floss every night, you will not have to go to the dentist. People take flossing way too lightly.
Right.
So
but we really need to come up with smarter ways of flossing, because most of the time the floss just gets stuck, because if you do not have any gaps in between your teeth, it's just it's just too difficult. You just keep on doing it and you make odd faces.
You just pull it out. Easily pull it out.
Half of the time, the thread's broken then, and then, it's a challenge to get the thread out too as well. Well, thank you very much for saying that. Because you mentioned about fizzy drinks, I think it's important that we talk about how sugar has an impact on our teeth too as well, because I love a lot of chocolates. My kids love chocolates too as well. So half of the time, whenever they're eating a chocolate, I have to take a bite or two as well, even though they do not like it. But yes, I cannot just help it. So how do you think that sugar is going to have an impact on our teeth if we consume sugar quite a lot, or sugary items?
Well, the frequency of sugary items has a direct impact on your teeth because the infection, the caries, just layman terms में कीड़ा बोलते हैं. You're basically providing its diet, and then if you do not, if you do not brush like after a while, then you're also leaving it inside the oral environment because the oral environment is quite closed. It's not open to the outside space. So तो फिर वहाँ पे infection आपका शुरू हो जाएगा, and if the infection spreads, then you get caries, then you get all these issues. So if you are a fan of sweet foods, it's okay, you can eat them, but just increase the frequency of your brushing or rinse after you eat it, or use some diluted mouthwash. That would be the best way.
Right, and you know what, thank you very much for saying that, and it's because of the fact that, you know, Kira does not only exist in the mouth, you know, it exists in the brain too as well. So people who have been having a lot of chocolate and sugar, don't do that, okay? It's not good, and that especially not before Eid, because then obviously the dentists are going to take days off, it's going to be Eid, you know, and you won't have any help, so we are here to help you. Yes, please go on.
Right, so I really wanted to ask about the bad breath, right? So is it really because of, you know, our bad oral or hygiene routine, or is it something more than that? You know, what do you recommend?
I think it's because of the diet.
A bad breath is called halitosis, and it's completely natural. Every human being, when they wake up, they have halitosis. It's a phenomenon in which we've used our oral cavity before for eating, for a night of eating. रात का खाना खा के we don't brush, we go to sleep, right? So when we wake up the next morning, we have halitosis. The easiest way to get rid of halitosis is to brush twice a day after breakfast. And when brushing, we often brush just our teeth. We should also brush our gums, our cheeks, and and on our tongue as well. If we brush everywhere, then halitosis is easily cured.
Well, I think whenever you brush on your teeth, you know, it just makes you feel like as if you're going to throw up. You know, that's the difficult part. That's it.
On the cheeks?
No, on the tongue. On the tongue, whenever it touches the bristles touch the tongue. The tongue's like, hey, you know what? That's a foreign body. Don't do that, because you know the tongue's not so used to it, and the backside of the brush does not really help either. So how do we do it? Is there any better way, or do you think that the mouthwash can help?
The mouthwash can definitely help, yes, but the backside of the brush is designed for the tongue specifically.
Really?
Just make the toothpaste a little foamy, so you don't feel the backside of your
brush. And you know, the sole reason why I was asking this question was that, you know, most of the time what happens is that a toothbrush costs us 30 or 40 rupees, you know, so it's hard for us to believe that it's been designed the way that you're talking about as well. I think it's just the khurpa, probably, you know, you have it and you're like, okay, chalo safai hogi, that's it, satisfied, right?
So, okay, I really wanted to ask you, you know, that if you are having a bad breath and, you know, you're traveling or you're in a workplace, so what is your immediate, you know, the help that you can get to tackle that, you know, menace that you
and in addition to that, I'm very sorry that I'm talking quite a lot today, but I've seen that a lot of people whose dental hygiene is 100%, they might still have the issue of bad breath, and it's because of the food or probably the tummy. They say that it comes from the tummy too as well. I don't know whether it's an excuse or not.
Empty stomach, obviously called.
Well, like I said, halitosis is a natural phenomenon. Every human being has it, because when we eat, we use our oral cavity, we use our esophagus, and then our stomach as well. So digestive juices and gases are making steams, they're leaving out fumes, and obviously when we burp, we let them out. So in our sleep, they get accumulated, and when we wake up the next morning, they're all you know, accumulated into our mouth. So it's completely natural. People who have very good oral hygiene, they have halitosis in the morning before they brush.
And in case of emergency, you know, what can help us?
Okay, in case of an emergency, if you don't have any toothpaste, if you don't have any mouthwash, nothing, just if you just have sink and water, that's more than enough. You just take some water onto your finger and you scrape the interior of your mouth with your finger and with a diluted finger, right? So just do that, rinse a lot, rinse 3 times, 5 times, and then you can actually do a self-check.
And there's a smarter solution too as well to that, and I've seen a lot of people doing that, and most of the time I actually have to ask them this, that, you know, do you think that my breath smells bad? Because every time somebody offers you a chewing gum, remember, there's something wrong with your breath. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Sigma Rule 44. If somebody offers you a chewing gum, please make sure that you remember that, God forbid, something's wrong with your breath. So please make sure that you take that chewing gum first of all, and then second of all, you know, take 2 steps back and then check yourself whether, you know, you have the same issue or not. And
I mean, can you check that with this thing, you know, with the hand?
I know how to check it, and I'm
Okay.
going to give you a very
demo?
foolproof apparatus to do so as well. So what you're supposed to do is that people most of the time, they will blow their breath into their palm and then try to smell it, which is obviously very inefficient.
Right.
So I'm very sorry that I'm telling you this, but this is something which I do most of the time. So what you do is, God forbid, if you're in doubt, you know, just lick your palm, you know, for like 2 seconds. Just let it dry and then smell it, and you would know whether your breath smells bad or not, right?
That's absolutely true, because the saliva contains the bacteria that's making the fumes that are left inside our mouth. So, yes,
where else can you find such intelligent people? No, Haja? All right, but in addition to that, very quickly, now since we are talking about, we have talked about sugary items, we've talked about candies, we've talked about pretty much everything. Then there's another problem, and this is something which I've seen in my family too as well, you know, that the teeth start to, not the complete tooth, but the tooth starts to fall off too as well. You know, it's going to chip away a little bit. And then, you know, it is difficult for the dentist to kind of fill it in as well, because at times the positions are very different as well. And the fillings which you get do not hold for a longer period of time. So what do we do, God forbid? Because it's going to be Eid, everybody's going to be off. If we lose a filling or if the tooth chips away, what do you think we're supposed to do?
Well, I have dozens of these cases, and they come to me, they tell me that hum refilling karwa ke thak gaye hain, they keep falling out, hum zara sa kuch khate hain, bahar nikal aati, they don't last for longer than 2 months, 3 months. The easiest, most cost-effective solution is to get it a crown.
Okay.
A good crown done by a good dentist, someone who's specialized in crowning. They go for a very long time, and aajkal ke crowns jo hain, these days, they come with a lifelong warranty. So just crown it and forget it that it was ever an artificial crown. It just feels like an original.
And God forbid, if somebody swallows the crown or the filling, do you think it's dangerous? Because a lot of people have done that too, right?
I would say I've come across like 2 people who have claimed to have done that.
Yeah.
And it didn't cause any problems.
Yeah, because, you know, I know my chachu, you know, so my chachu actually had a fake tooth too as well. And then unfortunately, he swallowed, no, it wasn't of gold, but, you know, he swallowed it, and then the next 2-3 days, he was in severe depression. He was like, my tummy hurts. I don't know what to do. I was like, yeah, it's okay, you know, it's going to come out, don't worry.
I think that was more psychological than physical.
It is, and it's because of the fact that you were never too sure about it, whether it went in or it went outside, you know, so that's, I think, one problem as well. But very quickly, towards the end of this segment, what would you want to say to people who are actually ready to have a lot of meat and beef and a lot of botis, you know, on Eid as well? So what would you say to them?
I would say, please brush twice a day. Don't forget to floss. And do come to Capital International Hospital, G12 Islamabad, for 50% off on all dental treatments.
Really?
And we're here to assist you. Yes, we have our Eid special going on. And very quickly, I'd just like to thank my team, my department, for making this a possibility.
Wow, that's wonderful. So 50% off on all treatments, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they say. I mean, it's a summer sale. Please make sure that you get your teeth fixed as well. But very quickly, what about women and children? Children, you know, who drink a lot of milk, lactoses, and, you know, whatever we call it. So what are the precautions for them?
The children should not be using adult toothpastes. I've seen this too much. They are toothpastes designed specifically for children. Up to 12 years, they should use ABC toothpaste that are made for children. Otherwise, they are left with permanent stains for the rest of their lives, like bright white spots that are not aesthetic at all. So that's something that you need to avoid. And for women, especially those who are expecting or new mothers who have just given birth, they really need to get dental checkups regularly, because hormones, unfortunately, they affect our oral cavity, our gingiva, our gums the most. So women often, they don't care of this, they let it slide, and then you have 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds with no teeth in their mouth, and that's just not right. So they should take care of themselves during pregnancy.
Yeah, because you certainly don't want your women to be talking like them. So please make sure that everybody looks after. All right, well, thank you very much, Dr. Barida,
thank you so much
for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation early in the morning. So for everybody who's out there, it is a very serious topic. We might not have conducted it in a very serious way, but we wanted to get the message across. We hope that, you know, out there, people are going to have the best smiles, you know, possible. You know, they're giving 50% discount. Please make sure that you rush out, if there's anything you need, not unnecessarily, please make sure that you do not get the treatment unnecessarily. All right, that's my point. What about you?
Okay, so it was a very nice message, and I think that we all suffer from the bad, bad breath thing, right? And it certainly affects our self-esteem. But I think we have a lovely doctor here, who told us, and I think Shehzad also qualifies to be a dentist because he told me a very good and a nice tip about tackling that issue and facing that. So after a short break, we will come back and we will talk something very interesting.
And we will talk about
very
eating.
Sweet, very sweet.
Yeah. So earlier we have talked about how the sugar is going to have an impact, but now we will talk about how sugar will make your day good. All right, that's what we will be talking about.
Yeah.
Well, after a short break, don't go anywhere because this is going to be festive season. Which cakes to buy, which cakes to look for, and what do the bakers what kind of thought process they go through? Because imagine if you have to make 3,000, 4,000 cakes in a single day. That can be literally difficult, but it can give you deep pockets. We're going for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning.
Welcome back. And earlier on we were talking about we walked you actually through the oral and dental healthcare routine, right? And we also talked about sugar and sugary stuff. So we really wanted to talk about some really sweet sugary stuff. But before we move on to our second segment, right?
Good news.
We have to share some good news with you guys, right? So the two lost mountaineers, Shehroz Ali and second one was Kashif, they were found back because they were lost. And Pakistan has a very rich terrains when it comes to the mountains and stuff like that. And often at times the mountaineers are lost or they lose their contact with the bases. But now they have been found, and that's a very good news to share.
Exactly. And in addition to that, obviously because yesterday we shared the story of that British mountaineer who was here, who actually did summit the Nanga Parbat, who was supposed to be the youngest. But imagine. So these two, amongst one of them happens to be the youngest as well. So they were lost, they were out of contact.
Okay.
So they spent the night out there, I mean, without any tents and without anything as well. But imagine, so Kashif and Fazal, what they did was that they spent the night out there in the open sky, and then they were seeing descending from the 4th camp to the 3rd camp too as well. And we want everybody to kind of please pray for them too as well, that they reach back down successfully. Alhamdulillah, shukr, alhamdulillah, that they have been found as well. While they were submitting Nanga Parbat, they got lost. Alhamdulillah, they are fine and they are fit and they are coming back as well. It's a good news, Calls for a cake, right?
Right.
Or mithai. Which mithai do you like, by the way?
Right. I'm more for gulab jamun.
Gulab jamun, yes. I like gulab jamun. Do you like hot gulab jamuns or thande gulab jamun?
I think both of them are
I think
fine.
in Sardiyan, hot gulab jamuns with that
But
sheera.
it depends, from which bakery they're coming.
Obviously, Jameel Sweets, I would certainly want to.
Yeah, Jameel and Rashid, both are the old bakeries.
And Rashid, yes, Fiza and Shiza, right? All right, but other than that, ladies and gentlemen, since, before heading out towards the break, we mentioned that, people make a lot of cakes in single days, and it's going to be festive season.
Right.
So everybody's baking a lot of cakes, and, it's a culture, that every time you have to go somewhere, you have to take a cake, 2,000-3,000 ka phatka lagta hi lagta hai.
Right.
But we have a very amazing entrepreneur over here in the studios who, by profession, is a marketeer, he's done a degree in international business as well.
Right.
And imagine, so, because he happens to be my chatti buddy, gali mahle wali dosti, and so he's a big name now, alhamdulillah, when we talk about cakes and baking, everything, so everybody is very familiar with 401 Bakers. He's the founder of 401 Bakers as well, and he was the first one, in fact, in Pakistan who could make shapes of any size, any shape, and whatever colors you wanted. He was the one who thought that, okay, fondants can actually help us make whatever we want to achieve. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the founder of 401 Bakers, and he happens to be Chaudhry Umair Khurshid. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How about you?
How's baking life going?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, wonderful, right?
Yes.
बहुत taste है sir आपके हाथों में.
Sir, thank you so much. आप तारीफ करते रहा करें.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us. But before we say anything, we seriously want you to share your work. Obviously, alhamdulillah, over here in the Twin Cities or outside Pakistan, people have been taking his cakes too as well. But we go out in 46 different countries. We want to share the pictures of the cakes Mr. Umair Khurshid has baked with his own bare hands as well, and how they might look. So please, team, whenever you can play the pictures of the cakes, that'll be wonderful. But sir, it's going to be festive season, Eid. How many orders do you have already?
We are getting orders, and let's see. इस्लामाबाद के लोग जो है ना लास्ट मोमेंट पे ऑर्डर करने का बड़ा शौक रखते हैं. फिर जब हम उनको ना करते हैं तो फिर वो नाराज भी होते हैं. So we're open till 9th. So let's see. We're taking orders till 9th. So let's see how many I can get.
Right.
How many so far?
Pretty good.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, what is the maximum number of cakes you've baked in one day?
This was before COVID. I remember we did 700 cakes, 2 pounders, 700 cakes.
So how big of a facility do you have, to bake?
It's not that big. It's just the way we manage it. I just have that old 6-foot का oven which I'm. Do you remember I told you when oven ले लिया?
That goes यार मैं बड़ा oven ले रहा हूँ आप और अपनी अबू को समझ नहीं आ रहा कि मैं क्या करूँगा लेकिन मैं bake करूँगा.
हाँ तो it's उसका फायदा बस मुझे ये हुआ है कि we can bake around 30 pans in one go.
Right.
So when I say 700, so that means a day whole of baking and then a day whole of preparing them.
That's a lot of gas, bro.
That's a lot of gas.
Right. So, Umair, we all have, bad baking moments, we have accidentally things gone wrong and all the recipes, just a mess. So, do you have any such kind of memories you would like to share?
Yes, we do. In the start, we did. the worst mistake that I could ever do was a customer who ordered a pure chocolate fudge flavor. I gave her a vanilla with cream cheese. And yeah, that was a disaster. But otherwise, obviously, keeping it professional, we try our best not to make a mistake or forget any ingredient from the recipe. Usme to hum logon ko nahi hota, but when it comes to the customization, obviously there are so many colors which are involved.
Yeah, and we share the pictures. Imagine, people want shisha to be on their cake. People want branded bags, and every little detail. You've always been very focused on that too as well. May it be a car being made, may it be anything. So. How do you focus on the details,
yeah? No, I'm not an artist.
So how do you make, these very fine details like
It's all about practice.
Really?
Yes, it's all about practice. I remember, back in school days, wo kindergarten wale time pe we used to play with Play-Doh.
Right.
This is an edible Play-Doh.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can pretty much make, but even when we used to play with the Play-Doh while back in the days in schools, we really couldn't figure out any shape out of it, yeah. Towards the end of the day, the Play-Doh was supposed to break down.
Right.
But yeah, it's about the practice. You keep on doing it, you keep on doing it, you keep on learning. I keep on checking tutorials from YouTube and places like these. So usme se phir I get ideas. I keep on trying. My staff keeps on trying.
So do you experiment often, with your cakes?
Yes, I do.
And what sort of, mostly cakes are in demand?
Because when we talk about people, there are different types of people: pessimistic, optimistic, opportunistic. So what are the different types of cakes or categories of cakes?
The popular ones.
Shahzad, business नहीं बंद कराना
No, but just asking, because
इसना होता है, मैं बताता हूँ, इसना होता है कि हम लोग differentiate, तो obviously customer is a customer, we do not intend to differentiate anyone.
Okay.
But then there are ones who want to order a 3-pounder, but they want the whole universe to be on top of it.
Okay.
ठीक है, उसको फिर हमें समझाना पड़ता है कि 3 पाउंड का केक है और हमने मेजर करके उसको उतने में ही कंप्लीट करके देना है. If you want a bigger one, if you want more customization, you need to order another pound or 2 pounds. But then there are people who are like, हमें आप 5-tier केक बना दें, but नीचे वाली 3 tiers आप फेक कर दें, स्टेरोफोम की कर दें. केक ऊपर से वो 4-5 पाउंड का होगा. Like, I mean, why in the world?
So they want the cake to stand tall, but they still do not want to spend the money. So they're like, okay, just give it a base, man, and just make it look tall. Wedding cakes, right?
So there are code words which I'm not going to say on the TV. There are code words which we use in the kitchen for the customers.
Okay, that one code word which you think you can say on TV.
Katta. Katta khul gaya.
That's a problem. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. And you obviously have to satisfy the customer. So, one of those most notorious offers given to you by the customer that, okay, Umair, if you're going to do this, I might probably do this for you too as well. So why don't you share
It was from an institution, and they said that agar aap ye kar dein aur is tarike se ho jaye. The thing was that obviously they have their own security concerns, and उनका एक वो check and balance होता है before the top brass eats anything.
True.
They need to get it labbed and everything done. तो मैंने commit कर दिया. Obviously it was a big jump. मैंने commit कर दिया. अब उससे 2 दिन पहले मेरे पास रात को
so you had people over.
I had
tasting,
taking cakes from इधर से CMH जा रहे हैं, labs के लिए पता नहीं कहाँ जा रहे हैं, और कितने प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स के अंदर से हमें अप्रूवल्स आए, कॉल्स आई कि जी केक बहुत अच्छा है. मैं कहा जी आप हैं कौन? कहा जी लैब टेस्टिंग के लिए है, NIH से, यहाँ से. तो खैर अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो उसके बाद we did good enough. I got an appreciation letter from them as well. तो लेकिन बस फिर ये था कि एक वो होता है कि once we're doing their orders, we're not allowed to take any, like if you have an order, we won't be allowed to take
that. I mean, and it's wonderful obviously, because when once they order, the quantity is quite large too as well, and so for example, if
we do that for corporate clients.
For example, if somebody might have ordered 500 cakes, so how many free cakes do you have to give them for sampling?
I try not to do that, but to get that order, maybe I might have to send cupcakes or a cake.
All right. Well, that's wonderful.
That's how it works.
And that's smart too as well.
That's how it works.
But with rising prices, I've seen that obviously we have this culture over here in Pakistan where, even if it's Eid, or even if you're going to somebody's place, you cannot go empty-handed. You have to take a cake. Cake suits best. And with mithai now, people have moved on. They like cakes more. And so what has happened is that, since we are so brand conscious these days, so everybody started to go to these different amazing brands like yours. Obviously, there's another one in F10 too as well. So they've been selling cakes very expensive, 4,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 6,000 at times too as well. But then all of a sudden there comes in a market challenger, and you know what they do is that they start selling cakes with the same exotic taste, with the same amazing ingredients, because God forbid there are other bakeries who might make the cake look as good, but it does not taste as good. So you know when you're eating exotic ingredients, right? So imagine that they brought down the price to 1,600 rupees for the same cake people were selling for 4,000 rupees. So what is your brand strategy now? And thank God they're out there, you know, now. And because number one, it's a brand and you only have to spend 1,600
No
rupees.
wonder महीने 1.5 महीने से order नहीं आया. अच्छा, इसमें इस तरह है शहजाद के I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
They are dealing in massive quantity with lesser profits.
True.
ठीक है? 800 cakes or 1,200 cakes on the average is their production line for one outlet.
Per day.
ठीक है, per day के लिहाज से सिर्फ इस्लामाबाद के लिए.
True.
So they're operating in other cities as well.
Yes.
They're opening up
And they're opening up franchises massively,
as well.
yes.
तो उनके काम में और मेरे काम में फ़र्क इतना सा है कि they are doing those non-customized ones. We are specialized in the customized ones.
True.
You can't basically customize that soggy, that abnormally fresh cake. आप उसको उस टाइम पे customize कर नहीं सकते.
Yeah.
So anyone who orders me and I say कि मुझे एक से 2 दिन का notice चाहिए, तो वो they go there. They get the cake from there, get a piping bag, right, happy birthday, that's it. So obviously we're losing customers because of them, जो हमारे standard cake के customers थे.
Yeah.
तो but again थोड़ा सा clientele के अंदर फ़र्क इस वजह से है कि we are more towards customizations, your given designs, your given flavor, or they are the ones who have the ready-made
Obviously,
stuff.
you know, your work is more of an art form, and you know, people who want the cakes to be there, where obviously they will always come back to you as well. But for people, you know, generic customers and consumers, you know, they can go for any other option. And you know, with non-customized cakes, I think that your price is even exactly the same, or somewhat 200, 300 ka hi fark hona hai. And I think that's great too as well. But if you can get a cake in your neighborhood, that's wonderful. But very quickly, you know, for all of those people who are watching, till what date do you think they can order cakes from 401 Bakers before Eid? You know, it's more like a darzi wali situation, right? Madam, bahut order hai abhi.
We're taking orders till the 8th.
Till the 8th.
9th, we're going to finish them up, and by 10th on Eid day, we plan to close by 12 noon.
All right.
So all the orders which I get for Eid will be dispatched by or before 12 noon on the Eid day.
Wow, that's wonderful. And where can people order? Do you want to share any number or contact?
They can directly order through WhatsApp or our Instagram. It's 401 The Bakers.
It's digits, right?
It's number 4, alphabet O and number 1. And our cell phone number is given on the page.
Yeah, and he drives the same number plate too as well. But thank you very much, Aisa, for being
welcome.
with us.
Thank
Lovely
you so
to be in
much for
conversation.
calling.
Thank you very much for taking our time.
Thank you so
You even
much.
came out yesterday too as well. We want to thank you for that. But
No
you know,
worries.
Allah had different plans for us too as well. But for everybody who's out there, you know, while we were talking about cakes, you know, cakes are an essential on a birthday, right? And when we talk about birthday, ladies and gentlemen, our executive producer, Jamshed Sultan Saab's birthday happened to be yesterday. We were not able to do the show yesterday because Allah had different plans, but here he is. A legendary human, to be very honest. You know, he always makes sense, you know, looks after each and everybody within the team, just as he would look after his own wife, which he kind of looks after quite very well too as well, or his child, Abdul Hadi, as well. But yes, I owe him quite a lot. You know,
and he's very strictly disciplinarian. You know, he keeps sure the team is on the time, and you know the results are really nice because of that. So we wish him a very happy birthday.
Exactly, he's a legend, and he's a legend because imagine that he's taught so many things too. While we even speak about Hasnan, I think Hasnan has been under his umbrella quite a lot, and you know, so he's always been teaching, he's been mentoring. He always makes sure that, you know, that nobody gets hurt from any of his action. And unfortunately, he's actually suffering from COVID as of now. So I want each and everybody to pray for him. A great guy, a great guy, a great guy. Sir, Ustadji, tusi great ho. I think that's something which I would want to say. Would always think out of the box.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to dear one. Happy birthday to you. From good friends and true.
So even though I have said all the nicest things from the bottom of my heart, I would want to say one more, Sir Shararti bhi bahut hai. All right, till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves. Please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of
World This Morning.
On Twitter.
World This Morning.
On Daily Motion and GHU.
World This Morning.
And this fabulous repeat is going to be at 10:05 tonight. Till the next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day.